and ordering decimals. The goal for the video is to be able to compare and order decimals all the way to the thousandths place. So we're going to look at comparing decimals first, and then we'll look at ordering decimals after we take a look at comparing. So the first thing that you want to do whenever you're comparing any number is always look at the digit to the very left. You can see I have 8 on the left-hand number and also 8 on the number on the right hand. Now if those two numbers are equal, what you have to do is you have to keep going to the right of the place values until you finally come to a place value where the numbers are different. Okay, with this number 8 and 383 thousandths and 8 and 291 thousandths, it's pretty simple to see that the 8 is equal, the whole number is equal. Now we're going to go to the tenths place, and I can see that I have a 3 in my tenths place on my left hand number and a 2 in the decimal on the right hand side. Okay, so it's pretty obvious that 3 is greater than 2. Okay, so now this would mean that my 8 and 383 thousandths is greater than my 8 and 291 thousandths, and so what I will do is give that 8 and 383 thousandths the greater than sign. Okay, saying that is greater than 8 and 291 thousandths. Now a way to remember which way the symbol goes, it's always important to know that the opening of my symbol is always open up to the number that is bigger or that is greater. Okay, let's take a look at the next one over here. So now we have 5 and 63 thousandths, comparing that to 5 and 72 thousandths. Once again, first of all, we're always going to take a look at the whole numbers first. Number all the way to the left. We see both of those numbers are 5. We don't know yet which one is greater. So now we're going to go to the tenths place. The 0 and the 0 on both sides in both numbers shows that we don't know which one is greater yet. Now we're going to come to the hundredths place. You can see in my hundredths place I have a 6 here and then a 7 here. And we all know obviously that 7 is greater than 6. So that means that the place that the symbol is going to be open towards the 5 and 72 hundredths. So as you can see with both of my symbols, with my two numbers on the right hand side and also the two numbers on the left hand side, that the symbol is open to each number that is greater. So what I want okay, and I'm going to do a couple greater than 9 and 402 ordering decimals. Okay, and I'm going to do a couple problems for you so you can follow along with me, and then we'll do some together and I'll have you do some all by yourself. So now we're going to compare these numbers in order from least to greatest, and just like we were comparing two numbers together, you do the same thing whether you're comparing two numbers or 4 numbers in this case or 10 numbers or whatever. You always want to start with the number furthest to the left hand side. Okay, so we're going to start with our whole numbers. Now you can see with these decimals that all the whole numbers are equal. Okay, so they're all the number 3. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to look at the numbers in the tenths place. Okay, so we have a 9 in the tenths place, an 8 in the tenths place, a 9 in the tenths place, and then finally a 7 in the tenths place. Okay, so we're trying to find the number that is least value, has the least amount of value out of all these numbers here. And we can see, since there's a 7 in the tenths place, that's the lowest number, okay, the smallest number, that is number that would go first if I'm ordering these from least to greatest. So what I will do is I will just write 3 and 713 thousandths. Okay, so I'm finished with that number, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cross that out. Okay, now I'm going to go to the next number, okay, the next greatest number. So I can see that this number 3 and 952 thousandths has a 9 in the tenths place. The next number here has an 8 in the tenths place. And the third number has a 9 in the tenths place. So I can actually see that since 3 and 862 thousandths has an 8 in the tenths place, that is the next greatest number, so I'll just write that on my line here. Okay, and I can just cross that out. Okay, then finally, I'm looking at my 3 and 952 thousandths compared to 3 and 96 hundredths. Okay, I can see my 9 is equal in both the tenths place for both numbers, so I'm going to go to my hundredths place. I have a 5 and I have a 6. Okay, so that means that my 5 is obviously less than the 6 in the hundredths place, so the next number would be 3 and 952 thousandths. Now, even though this number has more digits than this number, okay, this number is actually greater. Okay, and then the greatest number here would be 3 and 96 hundredths for my answer.